safe when the talk go live. Lady J and Twin keep the truth on drive. Boss, nobody safe, better guard your name. On the podcast waves, they exposing the game. Rose, nobody safe, every story unfold. From the streets to the suites, it's the tales they told. Nobody safe, no filter, no breaks. If you tune into the show, better pray it don't shake. Boss, hard mics lit, conversations too raw. When Lady J speak, whole room in awe. Rose, Twin got the facts, ain't no bluff in his tone. When they talk city, listen, every truth gets shown. From the block to the booth, they expose that shit. Wild ride, marble floors and designer fits. Luxury in the sound, but the root still hood. Talk heavy on the mic, they deliver it good. Ain't no rumors, just receipts, ain't no ducking the call. When your name hit the pod, they reveal it all. Rose, nobody safe when the talk go live. Lady J and Twin keep the truth on drive. Nobody safe, better guard your name. On the podcast waves, they exposing the game. Nobody safe, every story unfold. From the streets to the suites, it's the tales they told. Nobody safe, no filter, no breaks. If you tune into the show, better pray it don't shake. We don't sugarcoat nothing, conversations ablaze. If you scared of the light, better stay in the shade. Call it hood meets luxury, truth with style. This the type of podcast, make them run that mile. We gon' laugh, we gon' curse, we gon' spill that tea. From the bougie to the block, nothing safe with me. Yachts parked outside while the mics ignite. This the sound of the streets when it blend with life. We ain't holding back, not today, not ever. You can hide in the dark, but the pod too clever. Names get called and the truth's too loud. Nobody safe when we talk to the crowd. Boss, nobody safe when the talk go live. Lady J and Twin keep the truth on drive. Boss, nobody safe, better guard your name. On the podcast waves, they exposing the game. Nobody safe, every story unfold. From the streets to the suites, it's the tales they told. Nobody safe, no filter, no breaks. If you tune into the show, better pray it don't shake. Boss. Nobody safe when the talk go live. Lady J and Twin keep the truth on drive. Boss, nobody safe, better guard your name. On the podcast waves, they exposing the game. Rose, nobody safe, every story unfold. From the streets to the suites, it's the tales they told. Nobody safe, no filter, no breaks. If you tune into the show, better pray it don't shake. Boss, hard mics lit, conversations too raw. When Lady J speak, whole room in awe. Rose, Twin got the facts, ain't no bluff in his tone. When they talk city, listen, every truth gets shown. From the block to the booth, they expose that shit. Wild ride, marble floors and designer fits. Luxury in the sound, but the root still hood. Talk heavy on the mic, they deliver it good. Ain't no rumors, just receipts, ain't no ducking the call. When your name hit the pod, they reveal it all. Rose, nobody safe when the talk go live. Lady J and Twin keep the truth on drive. Nobody safe, better guard your name. On the podcast waves, they exposing the game. Nobody safe, every story unfold. From the streets to the suites, it's the tales they told. Nobody safe, no filter, no breaks. If you tune into the show, better pray it don't shake. We don't sugarcoat nothing, conversations ablaze. If you scared of the light, better stay in the shade. Call it hood meets luxury, truth with style. This the type of podcast, make them run that mile. We gon' laugh, we gon' curse, we gon' spill that tea. From the bougie to the block, nothing safe with me. Yachts parked outside while the mics ignite. This the sound of the streets when it blend with life. We ain't holding back, not today, not ever. You can hide in the dark, but the pod too clever. Names get called and the truth's too loud. Nobody's safe when we talk to the crowd. Boss. Nobody's safe when the talk go live. Right. Lady J and Twin keep the truth on drive. Boss. Nobody's safe, better guard your name. On the podcast waves, they exposing the game.
Yo, 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 welcome to the Nobody Safe podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed our new theme song. I am so excited about this new theme song. How did you feel about it?
Hey, man, I like it, man. Got a nice little vibe to it.
Listen, did it not hit every single point in that song?
I feel like it did. I feel like the mark was hit directly.
I'm telling you, because ain't nobody safe. We been telling people, ain't nobody safe.
I mean, they ain't believers.
I'm telling you. And it seemed like we done ruffled a little feathers here within these last couple of weeks.
Well,
but
you're going to do that. You know what I'm saying? Anytime, you speak about things, and you might mention someone and, it might be true. A lot of times people do things that they don't like for it to be spoken about. And, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? If you're ashamed of something you did, don't do it.
hey, I always said a hit dog a holler. So these dogs been hollering recently. But listen, I am so excited about today. Like, as you guys can see, we are in our brand new studio. We are excited about this change. We are excited about the new start of the Nobody Safe podcast. Let's go. Let's go. So, oh man, so somebody just said something on the screen here.
Yeah, you got comments on the screen there, so I'll put them up. All right.
There you go. There you go. So, listen, we're going to jump into it. Tonight, our subject is about why do people really cheat? We're going to have you guys to call in. You can definitely put your comments on the screen as well. We can see them on the screen. We're excited. But the first thing we want to do is we want to just, as you guys know, that there is a lot of controversy going on around the world, as me and you discussed the other day.
Yeah. And
one thing I want to touch on that's so very important, that's our freedom of speech. Our freedom of speech is beginning to be depressed. And it is important that we make the proper decisions during our future for our kids and for our grandkids. Because right now, Congress is trying to silence everyone. And if they take that away, we're damned. How do you feel about this right now?
Well, I mean, I feel like what's going on in Congress, that's finally being revealed to the bulk of the people. It's been going on. They just getting more explicit now because they've been, easing back, what we know as so-called rights. I can go back to my situation, under the Constitution, it say, every person has a right to a trial by jury. That's your right. That's under the Constitution, right? But if you exercise that right,
exactly,
you're going to be punished for it. So really, it's not a right. So, and I'm just using that example to show, like, they do that with every other provision under there. They, it's there, but if you exercise it,
that's right.
So, I'm just glad that it's being exposed.
So we're going to do this because this is actually something that really, really, really had me heated every time I turned on one of my social media pages. Like, it's not right. Let me make this perfectly clear. I don't condone killing. I don't condone anyone losing their lives. 100%. However, we have to address certain things. So what I want to do is I want to play this clip. We're going to take about 10 minutes to talk about this. And then we're going to talk about why I feel the way I feel concerning this certain individual. Let's go ahead and play this clip really quick.
Concerned about all of these Negro preachers who've been, in fact, talking about that this man that was killed was the answer to Christ in the earth. Y'all ain't saying nothing. They having moments of silence in black churches all over the country over a man that was racist and a white supremacist. How dare you compare him to Martin Luther King? The only thing that Charlie Chris and Martin Luther King got in common is both of them was killed by a white man. After that, they got nothing else in common.
And as you guys can see, we are talking about getting ready to just briefly touch on the assassination of Charlie Kirk. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to exercise my freedom of speech. Up under no circumstances do I condone the killing. But the Bible tells you, you reap what you sow. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. In Matthew 26, I believe, 26:25, if I'm not mistaken. Then said Jesus unto him, put up again the sword into his place, for all that take the sword shall perish of the sword. So Charlie Kirk, he put out so much bad publicity. He was known as a racist. He literally, back in January 3rd of 2024, he made a statement on his podcast, and this is the crazy part about this. He was just a podcaster. He had no kind of affiliation with Congress. But these people in Congress act like he's their God.
Well, let me say this. I understand what you're saying on the outside. You know, you're saying he had no affiliation with Congress. But if you look at the essence, he did. You know what I'm saying? He did the way he thought. His ideology is the same as them. They agree with it. Their actions show that they agree with his beliefs and the things that he said. See, you got to understand with majority of those members, all right, a lot of them walk around, they want to be seen and portrayed and as upstanding, dignified, and but for real, they feel the way they feel. And if you really understand the laws, and the legislative history that goes into, when they speak on these House floors and Senate floors, you'll understand their mindset. So you gotta understand this. Most people, how they beat us is because most people don't have time to read.
That's true. Right? That is so true.
They don't have time to read.
That is true.
So, you gotta understand when they enact these bills, they put out, it's like Ali, the phrase he used, the phantom punch, when he faked with this one and hit you with that one. See, they put out the good things that they feel like will appease the masses in these bills, and they get you to back them. But the whole while, the other 300-400 pages within that bill be laws that, if signed into law, is going to be totally against you.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I can go all the way back to the 80s, man. See, I read legislative history. I know, man, listen, anybody reads the legislative history on both sides, the Senate, the House, and you start reading those congressional records and stuff like that, dealing with the passing of, them crack bills and all that, they explicitly targeted
minorities.
No. Wow. Let me correct you on that. The majority. Okay? But they say minority. But they explicitly targeted them, people of color. All right? It's all in. I'm talking about. You could hear the way they spoke on the House floor and the Senate floor. Like it's right there in the records, but most people don't understand that because we don't read that type of stuff.
And it's sad that the racism is starting to show because they don't want to admit, even with this governor of Utah, I believe, saying, I hope it wasn't one of us. But in reality, it was one of you. But you don't want to own up to the fact it was one of you, and now you're still pointing the finger. So one thing that Charlie Kirk said that really, really irked my soul, when he targeted Michelle Obama, Ketanji Brown Jackson, Joy Reid, and Sheila Jackson Lee, you don't have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You have to steal a white person's slot to be taken somewhat seriously. But your wife can't even give a speech correctly without her looking dumb sitting up there on the stage. She didn't drop a tear. So this is my thing. I don't feel sorry that he's getting the backlash that he's getting, because all the hate that he put in this world, and he targeted black folks, and he targeted black women, and act like we were so less of. Let me tell you, black women, something. Every black woman that is listening to the sound of my voice, you have the power to make a change. We will intimidate a room. You can put us in a room full of people, and our presence is intimidating because we are strong and we make changes. So I don't care. You guys listen to me. This is so important right now. And we're going to jump into the topic of that we're going to get into tonight. But I want you guys to understand that I don't care that you're going out in massive crowds voting for the president. I could care less. What I do care about is that you getting out, going to vote on the midterm elections. That's what counts. Make sure that when it is time next year to vote, we get up, we leave our jobs, we take a day off, we get out our homes, and we go vote the people out of Congress that needs to be voted. Because when we make a change, there is nothing the president can do to overpower us. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you think that if we win the House next year, you think that everything would change?
You talking about the Democrats?
Yes.
No.
You don't think so? Why not?
Because you got to understand who really owns both houses. Mm-hmm. All right. See, when you follow the money, you discover where the real power lie. Both houses, both sides are bought and paid for. All right. You know what I'm saying? The only difference is their approach. Democrats are more subtle in their approach when they screw you over. Republicans are explicit.
And don't care.
You know, that's the only difference, you know. So it's like, now you ask me that question, and I'm gonna ask you, how do you think that things are really gonna change when when the ones that own both parties is the same?
You know, I look at it this way. If the Democrat wins the House, there's a lot of things that the president is doing, such as far as this dictatorship crap, that he's not going to be able to do. Just a little thing I learned today. I spoke to two young people that was over from the UK, and shout out to them because they subscribe to my podcast. Our podcast. So shout out to them if you're watching tonight. However, they were telling me that over in the UK, they are literally suppressing their freedom of speech. That if they are caught writing anything on social media now, they're looking at jail time. That's crazy, because if you think about it, our freedom of speech is the cornerstone of the American democracy. So, I mean, you have to keep in mind that our founding fathers fought for our freedom of speech. But I feel like this too. It kind of bothers me because you have so many young people that are serving this country for those constitutional rights. And what are they doing? Jeopardizing their lives for no reason now?
Well, let me just say this, right? You know, I hear you when you say founding fathers, and well, you got to understand this, right? Those were not your people. So you got to understand, like, I remember asking, or just basically making a statement to a family member, it was on the 4th, and I get it. Everybody, they like to barbecue and this and that, celebrate the independence, of the country. But I asked someone, right, and they didn't, because we do see one thing. I say, like, a lot of people of color, we do things blindly, all right. And I asked them, I say, well, in the 1700s, where was your people over here in America? They were somewhere in somebody's in some cotton fields and all. They wasn't celebrating the independence from England, But I'm gonna end that. I'm gonna end that there. So I just had to speak on that because when you said our founding father, you'll never hear me say that, But the reason it's important to understand the suppression, all right. You got to understand, like, real education, like, and it's no shade to anyone, who've been to college and got the degrees, and, I applaud you for that. But you got to understand that real education, you can only obtain through self-study.
That's true.
All right? Now,
that's very true.
And you got to understand the powers that be, they understand this. The only way that you can really control a mass of people is to control the type of education and information that they receive on a daily basis. If you can control the type of information and education that the mass of people receive on a daily basis, you can control them without them knowing that they're being controlled.
That's true.
It's the cheapest form of slavery being implemented today. It's a mental slavery.
And let me ask you this question. How are you think they're doing that right now? Because I have a good idea of how they're controlling us. I mean, what do you think that really we as a minority need to do to literally take back our self-control?
Let me give you an example, all right? You want to know an example of how we be in control? Okay. Let me give you an example. I can blindfold myself and walk up to 20 people of color in America, 20 blindfolded, and I can ask them, who's the first president? Out of 20, at least 17 or at least 15 gonna be able to, off the top of their head, George Washington. I can ask them, well, who freed the slaves? At least 15 off the top of their head, they're gonna say Abraham Lincoln. Okay.
That's right.
And I'm going to say, George Washington, that was back in the late 1700s. Is that correct? Yeah. Abraham Lincoln, that was back in the late 1800s. Is that correct? Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, what was the name of your great-great-great-great-grandma or granddaddy who lived when George Washington lived? Then what they going to do? What was the name of your great-great-great-great-grandma or granddaddy who lived when Abraham Lincoln lived? They going to do like that.
Well, exactly. I'm one of that person that's gonna do like that. I have no clue.
But it's a point I'm making. Exactly. We know everything about somebody else's history, culture, ideology, and we don't know nothing about our own. Wow. That's the cheapest form of slavery being implemented today. It's a mental slavery. It ain't got nothing. It ain't got nothing to do with color now. Because I can go to other groups of people and do the same thing, and they'll be the same way.
Exactly.
But the powers that be understand the way you control a mass of people is to control the information and education that they receive. That's
That
how
is
you
so
do
true.
it.
That is
You know what
so
I'm saying?
true. But I still want to encourage everyone next November to definitely get out and vote. It is so important that we get out and vote in the midterm elections. So I want to kind of slide into our topic. You ready for this?
Hey man, you know,
Listen, this is a controversial topic. I mean, if you guys want to call in, definitely you can call in. We'll have the number placed over on the screen. If you guys want to chime in and say something on the screen, definitely say something on the screen. We're watching the screen. We can look at the screen and we can see your comments, and we'll try to answer those comments as we go along as well. So I'm going to ask the first question. I want you to answer it. Then I'm going to let you ask me a question. So our topic tonight is, why do people really cheat? I have so many different scenarios. I feel like sometimes it's personal and it's emotional. I feel like sometimes it's trust and consequences. Other times, let me see here, because let me tell y'all, I have my notes, okay, on my phone. So if y'all see me looking down, I'm looking at my notes on my phone. Sometimes I feel like it's psychological and emotional as well. Sometimes it could be social and culture. But I want to know, this is my question to you. Do you believe that cheating is more about physical desire or emotional disconnection?
I mean, it could be a combination of both. You know, I you know, and I say that to say, you know, when it boils down to its essence, I feel like you know, cheating deals with disloyalty, distrust, lust, and lack of communication. It could be any number of them or all, you know. And I know, I mean, I lived a life where, you know, I ain't gonna sit here and be Mr. Goody Goody Two Shoes. I can speak on that. You know what I'm saying? You know, I know a little bit about, you know, cheating.
Now, listen, back in your days, I'm going to say this, back in your days, when you got to that point that you did decide, hey, I'm going to have this woman and this woman, I understand that most people say they were young. But honestly, too, I think that's just some things people throw out there, because there has been young couples that has been together 30 and 40 years, 50, 60 years,
Yeah.
you know. But when you were living that lifestyle, what actually took you to that measure to cheat?
Well, I mean, for me, you know, depending on what time frame of my life you know, it just depends. Like, you know, but for the most part, I could say with me, I was chasing a feeling. I remember a long time ago, man, my mom told me when I was young, you know, I think I was about 17, 18 years old. And I was dealing with this chick. She was a couple years older than me. And my mom told me something that went over my head then, but I understood it later in life. And she was saying, boy, you don't love that girl. You just love what she doing to you. And
Wow.
that's true.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? When I sit back and think about it, a lot of times, you know, as young men, we be chasing a feeling. You know, this certain woman makes us feel this way. This certain woman does this that makes me feel this way, and so forth and so on. You know, a lot of times. So in his essence, you know, when it comes to me, I can't speak for other people, but I was chasing, you know, a feeling. You know what I'm saying? More than anything. You know. But, you know, I want to ask you something, Jay.
Go ahead, let's go.
You know, because I want to see, you know, where you at, and you know, I want to ask you, like, define cheating in a relationship. What's your definition of cheating? And I'll give you mine when you answer.
Well, to me, cheating can be a number of things. Actually, it can be an emotional affair. It can be a one-night stand. It can be physical cheating, emotional cheating. It can be a number of things. But it defines what I can say that in that moment, it literally matters of what that person is doing in that moment. Because I could be saying, okay, my significant other just went out and cheated on me. But now here it is. I am in an emotional state of mind and I'm hurting. So I can pick up my phone and be like, hey, what you doing? Can I see you? I want to talk to you. Knowing that that's not what I'm doing because I'm in a state or a mind frame of hurt right now. I'm cheating mentally. It could lead into physically. It depends on how far I'm going to take that. So it could be a number of things. Okay. There's no certain way of saying that there's no such thing as cheating. I just feel like text message, everything.
Well, okay. I feel you. I feel you on that. I definitely do feel you on that. But I'm going to say this, right? Because I'm the type of person, I like to sum things up and put it in its most simple form. And what I'm finna say is gonna agree with what you're saying, but it just, you know, basically, if people gotta understand this. Cheating is basically this. Cheating is basically anything that you don't want your significant other to do.
Don't you?
You shouldn't do.
Exactly.
That's anything. Whether it's texting back and forth with somebody, whether it's calling, whether it's you know laying up, anything that you don't want your significant other to do is cheating.
So somebody just said, as soon as you think about it,
as soon as cheating. And I agree with that. As soon as you think about, well, I mean, now I'm gonna say this, right? I'm gonna say this. Now I can agree with that, but I'm gonna say not wholeheartedly, because you can think about something and don't do it, and that's not cheating.
But let me ask you this. Now, you say that you can think about something but not do it, but you don't think that's mentally cheating because you thought about it. So at some point in time, you thinking about it, it shouldn't have never came across your mind.
I mean, but you got to understand this, though, Jay. Now you're trying to restrict the mind. Do you understand how powerful the mind is? Do you understand when you're asleep, your mind is working? Yeah. So it's like when you go that far, you trying to put a restriction on something that cannot be restricted. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have a lot of thoughts. You know what I'm saying? That you may not act on. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna give you this example. Like, for example, if you think about killing somebody, they piss you off that bad, and you think about it, should you be prosecuted and put in prison for murder?
Now that's a good way to put it.
You know what I'm saying?
Because I never thought of it that way. So that's a real good way to put it. Now, somebody said situation put stuff on your mind. That's true. I mean, but before feeling attraction, it is important to first understand each other's mindset. That is so correct, because if you don't understand that person's mindset, you don't understand, because I'm like this. I feel like this. A lot of people I have heard say you don't bring old baggage into a new relationship.
A lot of women do that.
And they do. And a
lot
lot
of
of
women do
men
that.
do it too now. There's some men out there that do it too, because they judge a woman. I had a guy in the car with me the other day. He literally said, "Oh, you drink boba tea?" I said, "Yes." He was like, "Oh." I was like, "Why?" He was like, "My ex-girlfriend drunk boba tea, and that's all I did was took her. I would never take my new girlfriend to get a boba tea if she wants it." But you're blaming, or you're literally putting that young lady into a situation she did not ask for. So why are you punishing her for something your ex did?
Because
so they're harboring that, and guess what? Sometimes that's what caused a man and a woman to cheat, because you're fighting against past relationship or past hurt and pains that people don't went through.
I mean, and I agree with that. You know, a lot of times people take old baggage from the past and bring it to the new. All right, you know what I'm saying? I agree with that. But when you do that, you allowing the person from your past to control you still. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I frown on that. You know what I'm saying? You know, but in its essence, you know, to comment on the last comment that was made, you know, it boils down, you know, like what I learned too, like people don't communicate no more. People don't like think about it. Like people don't. And when I say people, I'm speaking in general, not most. Now, I mean, not all, because I know, you know, I don't want everybody, all right, not all, but most
but
people.
This is going to be a controversial topic, because, I'm not even looking at the screen.
No, just look at the relationship, how relationships go today, all right? Most people don't even date. They meet today, no, literally.
Don't do it, don't say it.
It's Saturday. They meet today.
They in the bed tomorrow.
Well, if not tomorrow, at least by Tuesday or Wednesday. Wow. And you in the bed sleeping with a person like y'all been knowing each other 3-4 years. You know what I'm saying? And it goes back, like I say, to communication. People don't communicate no more. They don't take the time to get to know people. I'm a victim of that. I mean, I'm guilty of that. Like when I was younger, I didn't take the time to really get it. But you got to understand too, I was also, and I'm man enough to admit that too, I was also immature.
Exactly.
In that aspect, I didn't take the time to really try and get to know somebody and, you know, their likes, their dislikes, their personality. You know what I'm saying? I mean, down to the you know, the type of flowers and all. You know, I'm guilty of that too. I'm man enough to admit. But I also acknowledge too that was the problem, and it's still the problem today. You know, people don't get to know one another. You know what I'm saying? They don't take the time to get to know one another. And I'm going to say this. If you listen to the music today, because it's even worse today than it was back when I was young.
That's true.
So you listen to the music today, like you look at these younger chicks, right? They feel like you don't care about them unless you buying them something.
That's true. That's true.
Because you listen to the music, the lyrics. She was bad, I bought her a Birkin. It's like, you know, dudes now, they walk up to a woman at the gas pump, she pumping the gas, and it's like, oh, I pay for that. So it's a negative concept on both ends. In her mind, it's putting in her head that shit, if he ain't breaking me off, I ain't. But in his mind, but she's not understanding that he ain't doing that for nothing. All right? He ain't doing that for nothing.
Yep.
There's an ulterior motive, you know what I'm saying, behind him doing that too.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
So, you know, I mean, it's a little, you know, a little give and take, but you know, you just have to be aware, man, of what you doing and how you moving, and you just got to check it. A lot of people, that's another thing. A lot of people don't like to check themselves.
And you know what gets me is that you said it, you really said it just now. A lot of people don't take the time to date. And it's just like you said, I have seen where I can see an old friend and they be like, oh, you look nice. You know, hey, let me take you out to dinner or whatever the case may be. Okay. But now you're trying to move a little bit too fast for me. But see, we haven't seen each other in so many years. You don't know how much I have changed. I'm not the same person I used to be 2 and 3 years ago. So you got to come at me totally different. You know, I'm more of a lady now. You're going to have to step to me and speak to me like a lady. Hey, chivalry is dead nowadays. You rarely see a man open the door for a woman. I tell my son every day, I better not ever see a woman open a door, even if we're out. If you see a woman getting ready to open the door, you go open that door. We don't have young men these days in time. It's just like they want to get into bed, have sex, and that's it. So that's where so much of the hate and the hurt and everything comes into this relationship. And now you're healing someone from a past relationship that you shouldn't even be trying to heal. I'm to the point now, I have learned peace. If you can't come in heal with me, guess what? I'd rather stay single. I don't have time to be healing or trying to figure out somebody methods. I don't have time for that.
You know, it's funny you said that, right? I remember talking to this youngster a couple months ago, right? And he used to be back and forth over the phone, ranting and raving and cussing and, you know, hanging up and, you know, all these theatrics, man. Mm-hmm. And I just basically told him, man, in a nutshell, man, you know, you got to understand, man, P-O-P. And he asked me, he was like, man, P-O-P, man, what do you mean?
Yeah, I'm about to ask you, what is P-O-P?
Hey, man, I value my peace over pussy. If, you know, listen, look, like, that's where I'm
about that, Mom, if you're watching.
No, but this just real, this just real stuff. You know what I'm saying? And for real, you know what I'm saying? For the women, it's the same. You can flip it. It's true. P over D.
That's true. That's so true.
Listen, if you nagging me and bringing me all this negative energy and all that, man, listen, man. Man, that box ain't worth it to me.
I know that's right.
You know what I'm saying? It's not worth it. I'm going to go on about my business because I don't need that in this state. Now, when you young, I get it. You know, you make a lot of mistakes. You do a lot of things that, you know, you wouldn't do when you're older. You know what I'm saying? You know, but at this stage in my life, man, look, man, if you not bringing peace, and when I say peace, meaning a peace of mind.
Yes, that's true.
You know what I'm saying? It is not worth it to me to be dealing with you. I don't care how good your loving is. You know what I'm saying? You know, I don't care how good it is, man. If you're not bringing me a peace of mind, if every 5 minutes we fussing and fighting and all, I'm gonna go on about my business.
I know that's right because I just don't have time for it. Now, this goes to my next question to you. What do you think is worse, a one-night stand or emotional cheating? Which one you think is worse?
I mean, you know, that really just depends on the individual. You know what I'm saying? You know, I mean, I'm going to say the one night stand, and this is why, right? Mm-hmm. Because emotional cheating derives from something. It has its root somewhere. If you emotionally treat cheating, like mentally, you emotionally treat cheating, that means you're not getting something at home.
That's right.
All right? But now, if you done had a one night stand, you done got it. I mean, so I would say, me personally, you know, if I'm a you know, pit both of them side by side, I'm gonna say, you know, the worst one would be the one night stand over the emotional cheat, because there's a way to come back from emotional cheating. Like, for example, if you sit down and it goes, like I said, it goes back to what I said. Mm-hmm. Open communication. If you get with your significant other and you sit down and y'all openly discuss what's wrong, you know, where's the relationship lacking, and that other person is willing to step up in that area, then the emotional cheating can be dissolved. But when you done had a one night stand, you can't take that back.
Yeah, it's no coming back from that. Now, that goes, do you think that can forgiveness truly erase damage that has been caused in cheating? Is one of the questions I want to know. Can forgiveness, like, can you forgive someone? Can it just...
Yeah. it, and that, like I say again, that goes to the person. Okay, some people can forgive and move on wholeheartedly. Some people forgive, but they still hold it, mentally. And every time they haven't really forgave, because every time they get mad, they speak on it and it comes out. So yes, if you're the type of person, you can totally forgive somebody if they make a mistake and move on. Yeah, I believe that certain people can forgive, but then you got certain people who they'll say I forgave, but internally they really have not forgiven you. Yep. You know what I'm saying? And you will know. See, because one thing about it, right? It's a saying, and I learned this to be true, right? It's 3 people, Joy, that's gonna tell you the truth in this world.
So I know one of them is a drunk.
A drunk, a baby, and a motherfucker who mad with you. If you want to know how a person really feel about you, just make them mad. They'll tell you everything. That they'll tell you exactly how they feel about you when you piss them off.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
And don't let them say, "Oh, I just said that because I was mad at you." No, you said that because you
that's how you really feel.
Exactly.
Just like alcohol, a drunk, and this Henny, by the way. Somebody asked what I was drinking.
Asked what you were
drinking. What I'm saying? Love a good shot of hen, but anyway,
I'm drinking coffee. Well, with some rum chata.
Yeah, well, that sweet shit that ain't gonna do nothing. That ain't gonna do nothing for me. But a drunk as well as a angry individual, because when a joker drink and they loose, they can say things that they really feel, and they'll tell you how they really feel about you. A baby gonna always be honest with you.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I'm saying? So it's 3 people that's gonna always tell you the truth. A drunk, a baby, and a joker that's mad with you. You know what I'm saying? Just keep that in mind.
So just a little side note, right? He drinking Henny, so he may be telling y'all the truth right now. Remember, he might be one of those 3.
But this the thing though. I ain't drunk. I don't get drunk now.
No, you don't get drunk.
No, okay, you ain't gonna never have to tote me nowhere and put me nowhere. No.
Okay, I hear you. So, what is it that you have to ask me? Is there a question? Now, I've been asking a question because I really want to see where your head is at with the cheating. Not only do I want to see, a lot of people wanted to see, like, it was like, hey, ask them this, let's go. So, a lot of these questions came from some of the viewers that I actually spoke to.
Okay.
So, what is it that you feel? How you feel like about this whole cheating? What questions you have for me? I
want to understand. Like, I see when I ask questions, just like I asked you earlier, to define something from me. Because when you ask a person to define what they mean, you understand where they coming from. Mm-hmm. So, I learned that, what I'm saying? That's why I ask somebody, man, okay, when somebody use a certain term with me, I ask them, man, define that for me so I can understand. Because you got to understand, people define words differently. Mm-hmm. They do. Like, my understanding of something is not your understanding of something. But if I ask you to define that word for me, it lets me know where you're coming from. So
let me ask you this question. I want to ask you this. Okay. I had a situation. Okay. Let me know, was it cheating? Okay. I'm not going to name no names, but I had a situation where there was a gentleman, okay, that was into me. He was liking me, and he was showing a lot of interest in me. Now, come to find out, he was speaking to someone, or he was talking to someone that I know, okay? However, that individual young lady thought that they were having a relationship, and he was like, I have literally told her, this is no relationship. We are only friends. But she thought it was a relationship, okay? So he would call me, he would talk to me, and he was willing to do a lot for me. And I was like, okay, I don't want to take it to this next step because I just feel like if she finds out, she's going to be very upset because you have her feeling like, hey, y'all in a relationship. And every day she's saying y'all are in a relationship. Have you spoke to her about this? Now, he clearly stated to me, oh, I have told her plenty of times, this is just a friendship. That's all it is. It's a friendship. So now, because I just feel like, hey, let me not cross the line in this situation, he really actually cared for me. And he was upset with me when I moved back and split it off. And he was trying to get to know me. And he said, I see a future with you. Not with her, but with you. Now, do you think at that point in time, there was any type of, let's say, lack of communication? Or was it to the point that they may have been in a relationship and he wasn't letting them know? But, I mean, he clearly, I'm talking about, stop cold calling her. Just so he can really, really get to know me. And I'm talking about coming to see me and everything. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, what do I do in this situation?
Well, I'm gonna speak on him and his situation first. Like, based on what you explained to me, now I haven't talked to this guy to understand. You know, you got two things that could possibly be happening. All right, because I'm a man. I done been there before too.
And that's
some
what
women.
I want to show your point of view as a man.
Now I'm gonna say some women, not all. So don't hit me across the head with the frying pan. And some women, you can have a conversation with and say, hey, look, I ain't trying to be in no relationship, and I'm just trying to, just have a little fun here and there. Some women hear that and it go in that ear and it go out the other. Because if you doing anything, like if you being intimate with them or anything, in their mind, you they man. I don't care what you say out your mouth.
Because you went to intimacy. That's a whole y'all connecting on a lot of level.
And you got to understand, some women, that's that's their mindset. And see, I'm gonna tell you, like, a lot of guys, they don't understand something. I didn't understand it either until I started doing some real studying and learning myself and learning people as a whole. But women are different from men. Y'all genetic makeup, y'all chemical makeup is different. Like, women can't randomly like deal in a sexual manner with men, because you got to understand, like, when women are sexually involved with men, there's a chemical that's being released that automatically
dopamine
makes her connected to that guy. Now, some women can control it more than others, but some women can't. So it's one or two things happening. Either he's being open to this woman, like he's telling you and saying, hey, he's telling her, hey, look, I ain't trying to be in no relationship, but he's being sexually involved with her. And in her mind, we together, or he just dealing with a nutcase because you got them too. You know what I'm saying?
That was one of the questions too that someone just brought it up. One of the questions I did want to get your opinion on: who cheats more, men or women, in your opinion?
Well, I mean, I can't really give an opinion. I say this: I'll give an answer to it, but I can't really give an opinion on that, because you got to understand, I'm not a woman, so I don't know. But I will say this: women are more careful about what they do than men. A lot of men, they sloppy. It's right there. It's explicit. But women are more careful about what they do. When they decide that they're going to do something, they're more careful. You know what I'm saying?
Do you think that at any point in time, because it has happened all across this nation, when a woman cheats, it's easy for a woman to bring a child back home. Let's, hypothetically speaking, let's just say you go out, you cheat on your significant other. Or no, let me reverse it. Your significant other cheats on you.
Okay.
Okay. You and your significant other, you guys are just clashing. She caught you cheating. She goes out, she cheats, but in the process of her cheating, 3 months later, she winds up, she's pregnant. And now there's a baby on the way. What would you do in that situation? How would you feel in that situation? How would you handle that situation?
Well, I mean, it really would just depends on what I did to cause the situation. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? And see, that's another thing too. You have to be able to, you know, in certain aspects. Now, you know, you got some people that you just call, I would call like a serial cheater. You know what I'm saying? But
and we do have those. We do have them around
in
here.
a situation where, you know, I drove that person to do what they did, then I would basically, I'm gonna either accept it or move on. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm gonna either accept it or move on. You know what I'm saying? But one thing, if I do choose to accept it, I'm gonna totally forgive, and I ain't gonna throw it up when I get mad, and you know, I'm gonna totally forgive and move on. But if I don't feel like I can accept that, then I'm gonna go ahead and move on. I ain't gonna play no games. I ain't gonna, you know, see one thing about me, like I haven't, since I was young, I haven't developed the ability to be phony. Either I like you or I don't like you.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? But you got some people, they can play like they your friend, and they get, you know, and, you know, even some women, they could act like they care about you and even have this, you know, sleep with you and everything. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm not like that. God didn't fashion me like that. It's either I like you or I don't like you.
And you know what's crazy is that for women, it's more of an emotional cheat. As a woman speaking, I don't know I can't speak for all the women in this world, but I can say it's more of an emotional cheat, because some women, you got some women out there that's just popping everywhere. But when a woman really truly cares for you and she's in that relationship with you and she's trying to build for you and she find out that you cheated, it's more of an emotional cheat, because you have literally drove her to that point that you hurt her. It takes a strong woman, and there are some very strong women in this world, to not sit here and cheat back on a man after they have literally, that man have cheated on them because of whatever reason they may be going through. What I do is, I remember my mom saying, my mom and my dad was together for almost 50 years. Before my dad passed. And she said they went through some very, very hard times.
I can imagine.
Very hard times. But however, she said through those hard times, she learned, and she, you know, it was hard sometimes because he was over the road, and the women that would call her and the women that would just say different things to her. And, you know, it was so much that she went through. But the thing that got her through was, she had 2 kids at home, wanting to make sure those 2 kids had the best life. So she stayed grounded, she stayed focused, and she said that's when she found God the most, and she just turned to God. So I commend her to this day. My mom is 87 years old, and if I ever need anything, I literally call her and say, Ma, I need your help. How you get through this?
Well, I'm gonna say this, you know, to address, you know, your mom, you know. You got 2 people in this world. that both men and women, and your mom fall in one of the categories. You got leaders and you got followers. All right. Followers do things because other people do it. Leaders gonna always carve their own path. You know what I'm saying? Your mama was a leader. All right. You know, I can say the same thing about my old girl. I done seen my mom, you know, go through hell. All right. I'm talking about hell. All right. But one thing I will say, that woman was a leader, because I'm quite sure there's a lot of things she could have did off emotions to, you know, get back, and she chose not to do it.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly. And those are the women that you have to protect these days and time, are those leaders. Those are the ones that young ladies today should be looking up to. You know, we have to cover them because they are so very special. And those are the ones you should be getting advice from. Don't get advice from your homegirl who done been divorced 3 or 4 times and can't keep them.
Them the ones gonna always have the most advice.
Exactly.
If you ever notice something, you know, it's like a verse T.I. said on one of his songs, man. You know, but you gonna always have, just to jump, you gonna always have a poor motherfucker trying to tell a rich person how to invest their money.
That is
you gonna always have the auntie or older sister or a cousin or whomever that done been divorced 5 times, done had 50 boyfriends. They gonna always try and tell you how you need to be in your relationship. Now that's just how it is. You know what I'm saying? But you got to be wise with who you take your advice from, who you listen to, you know. And what I would say to the younger generation, both women and men, you know, first with the men, the young men, you know, first you got to stop glorifying ignorant behavior.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? You have to stop, because like I used to tell some of the older cats, man, that I used to communicate with when they go to rant and rave about, oh, these YN, these young dude it. Yeah, but you can't. You got to blame us too. All right, because for one, the older cats like myself who really care about them, who would take the time and sit down and really talk to them and really give them some good jewels, we were taken off the street. All right. The majority of them dudes, the majority of them dudes, the majority of the older, you gotta understand something. The majority of the older dudes who gonna put that battery in them young dudes back and have them doing crash dummy shit, that's gonna cause them to lose their life. They gonna sit back and be laughing at them when it happens.
Yeah, but what I want to say to you is that it's not too late. You have a second chance. So yeah, sometimes it's hard to like grab a hold to them because they feel like, oh, where were you then? You know, but it's not too late to, you know, try to instill something.
No, it's not.
And it's up to them if they want to take that advice or not.
It's not too late, but I will say this, right? Like I said, you know, the wrong things, the wrong characteristics are glorified today. You see what I'm saying? Like for example, like the more intelligent you are, right? Just listen to the talk. The more intelligent a person is, I'm talking about the street talk now. You know, the more intelligent a person is, you know, oh, he a square. But the more ignorant he is, oh, that's a real end.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So you got to understand, the mindset got to change with the younger group. You know what I'm saying? And they got to start to understand and respect and glorify intelligence. All right? Now, when that happens, it'll spill over to the women. You see what I'm saying? Because you got to understand, not going to the women. It's like nowadays, man, most of these women, they don't know what a real man is. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying they really don't. Like, and I'm gonna speak on that. Like, you get a gentleman, right? And let's say, you know, this chick, she you know, they meet, and they've been dating or whatever, communicating over the phone or whatever. And let's say, you know, he find out, you know, she kind of down bad and needs some assistance or something, you know, financial or whatever. and he might cash out or something, or Zelle or the money. Most of the young chicks now, oh, I got me something sweet.
Oh yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Oh,
So
yeah.
because they don't understand how to recognize genuineness no more.
But the crazy
you know what I'm saying?
part about it is that men, that's what men flock to, and they glorify that. It's just like you say, a lot of women don't know good men, and a lot of men don't know good women. So that's vice versa. I always say this. I'm not listening to no silly bitch out here. Because I call these bitches out here silly. If you gonna sit up here and be one of these silly bitches that sit up here and say, oh, yeah, I got a man that's gonna do this and I got a man that's gonna do that, girl, a lot of men that will do that for you. But the point is, how is that man respecting you? You don't know what he's doing when he leave you. You don't know what he's doing when he's with somebody else. So come on now. Let's be real. Like, the same thing he doing for you, he could be doing with multiple women because he got the money to do it.
I mean, I can, you know, I can speak to that, you know, but what it boils down to me is people don't communicate no more. They don't take their time. And I ain't gonna say no more. I'm gonna say, you know, most people don't, because I didn't years ago. I'm man enough to admit that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I done been there. That, you know, that's why I can speak on. I done been there. I know what it feel like. I know what it feel like to deal with a whole bunch of different people in it, and I understand my reasoning for why I did what I did. Mm-hmm. But when it's all said and done, it boiled down to me not taking the time to get to know the individuals that I'm dealing with. We think because we know a person's name, they date of birth, you know, we think we know them, and you don't. You know what I'm saying? And people don't take the time to really get to know. People don't look like the old folks, you know, the older folks say, you know, back in the days, court. People don't court anymore.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They don't court no more. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's why you keep having these problems with these relations. And guess what? As a woman, and you hearing this come from a man, if you dealing with a dude, you meet a dude and you dealing with him, and y'all communicating back and forth here and there, and let's say he might take you on a little date, you know, maybe to the movies, out to eat or whatever, and a week, 4-5 days later, or even 2 weeks later, you know, he nudging you towards sex. That's all it's about.
Exactly.
Because if he really was trying to get to know you and your intellect and everything about you, that wouldn't even come up. You know what I'm saying? That'll happen when it happened. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? And see, that's why I say, even with the women, these younger women, they don't understand that. That's why they fall into that trap and doing basically the same mistakes that we did, but just in their way. Because you got to understand, things happens in trend. You know, what was hot and the thing back then, it slightly changed. Now it's the same thing. I remember, look, when I was young, man, I remember my mom used to tell me, man, you know, boy, ain't nothing new up under the sun. That same stuff you doing, we did it.
We did it. My mom
I believe that now because they did it their way, but it was the same thing. You know what I'm saying?
I tell my son, man, what you trying to do? I done been there, done that. So you can't even cross me with it. Don't be slick. You know what I'm saying?
You know, I tell my sons, you know, even a couple of my daughters, you know, I use the phrase, I tell them, hey, man, I done been at your age before. You ain't never been mine yet.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? To let them know, like, all that little stuff y'all doing and all. See, you think because you're young and you hip and, oh, pops or mom green or that. Man, look, we done did the same thing y'all did. Yeah, exactly. You just, you know, y'all just got y'all own little spin to it the way y'all doing it now, you know?
Exactly. But, you know, this was very interesting, and I think that communication is what's lacking in a relationship these days and time. People don't take the time to sit down and communicate. I tell a guy real quick, listen, if you want to date me, ask me what my favorite book is. I'll tell you what my favorite book is. If you can't come back to me and tell me what that book said or why it's my favorite book, why am I even talking or having a conversation? Because you didn't even take the time out to really get to know what I enjoy, what made that my favorite book. at the end of the day. Take the time out. If I invest in something that you like to do, take the time out to invest in something I like to do. Otherwise, I'm fine. POD. That's what I'm going to start saying. POD from here on out. But listen, I am so excited. One of our future topics is going to be forgiveness. Is what forgiveness or forgetting or forgiveness. Forgiveness over however we're gonna say it, but we're gonna go ahead and get that topic together one day, because that forgiveness and forgetting, that's a big thing. You have to learn how to forgive, or are you gonna forget? Because people that say they forgive, they really truly don't forget. So that's one of the topics we're gonna talk about too.
Yeah,
on this podcast.
They say that a lot of times. People say that because they don't want to dissolve the relationship. They don't want to let that other person go. You know what I'm saying? And that's why most of the time people say it for the time being, but they be harboring ill feelings. You know what I'm saying? And like I say, when you piss a person off, that's when it comes out. You know what I'm saying? That stuff that happened 2 years ago, that's going. I done been there. Like, I understand. I done been there. I remember my little situation. Like, and going to prison and. Things that transpired before I went to prison. I done had people come up, now I'm gone, and they need a reason to do what they want to do. Oh, you remember when you?
Yeah, did this and you did that. Yeah, exactly.
So,
that's not a reason for anything. But we're going to talk about that. So let's not get into that. That's one of the topics we're going to talk about. But I enjoyed tonight's podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast as well. I'm going to let Twin, take us out. I hope you guys enjoyed our new theme song, because it is fire. If you didn't hear it, just tune in. Just stay logged on right after the podcast and you're going to hear it quickly. We're going to play it for you.
I'm about to play it.
He's about to play it. Well, let's go. We might as well go ahead.
Yeah, I'll play when we sign out. So
okay, so he's going to play it when we sign out. I love my new engineer, y'all. Oh, my God, I love my new engineer. So give it, I'm going to shout him out to my podcast doctor. He is wonderful. I so love this gentleman. And he's God's sent. So, sometimes God will send people in your life for the right reason, the right season, and at the right time. So y'all better believe that. Better believe it. All right, Twin, go ahead and sign it out.
I'm going to make it short and sweet. You remember Russell Simmons back in the Def Jam days when he come out there?
Go ahead.
Thanks for coming out. Good night.
All right, see y'all in 2 weeks. We'll see you October the 4th. You don't want to miss October the 4th podcast. We're not going to tell you what it's about, but we will be posting it. Don't miss it and tune in. Until then, what you say?
Be there or be square.
There you go. All right, y'all tune in to our new jam.
Outside while the mics ignite. This the sound of the streets when it blend with life. We ain't holding back, not today, not ever. You can hide in the dark, but the pod too clever. Names get called and the truth's too loud. Nobody safe when we talk to the crowd. Boss. Nobody safe when the talk go live. Right. Lady J and Twin keep the truth on drive. Boss. Nobody safe, better guard your name. On the podcast waves, they exposing the game. Nobody safe, every story unfold. From the streets to the suites, it's the tales they told. Nobody safe, no filter, no breaks. If you tune into the show, better pray it don't shake. Boss.